The night the air shimmered around him, everyone else on the quiet ridge kept walking, as if nothing unusual was happening. But Saren noticed. She always noticed the strange things, even before her life began unraveling in quiet, unexplainable ways. She stood alone near the overlook, the city lights far below glowing like fallen stars. The wind brushed against her coat in soft, uneven pulses, almost as if it carried a heart of its own. She had come here to clear her mind. She always did when the world felt too heavy. But she did not expect him. Not that night. Not with that look in his eyes. The moment he stepped from the shadows, Saren felt a pressure in the air, the kind that whispered of hidden truths and impossible possibilities. She didn't know his name then. She only knew he walked as if the earth recognized him, and the shadows bent slightly toward him, almost like they were greeting an old friend. And when his gaze met hers, something inside her shifted. Not fear, not danger, something else, steady, warm, startling. He stopped a few steps away, his posture calm, as if he had been expecting her. A faint flicker of silver moved across his irises, so brief she wondered if her mind invented it. "Long night?" he asked. His voice had a quiet resonance, something low and soothing. Saren blinked, unsure why her pulse suddenly felt louder than the wind. "You could say that," she murmured. He nodded with a gentle understanding that felt far too specific for a stranger, as if everything familiar is starting to feel different. Her breath caught. She never said that, not to anyone. The ridge fell silent around them, leaving only the glow of the city and the soft hum she suddenly sensed in the air. She glanced behind him, half expecting someone else to appear, but he was alone, perfectly still, perfectly patient. "Do I know you?" she finally asked. A faint smile touched his lips, quiet, almost sad. "Not yet." The words lingered, unsettling and comforting, all at once. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Saren watched a streak of light sweep across the sky, too swift, too controlled to be a meteor. The stranger didn't even look up. He only watched her, studying her expression as though he was waiting for her to notice something important. The air pulsed again. A subtle tremor, like the echo of some unseen energy. And Saren felt, for the first time in her life, that something was about to change. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. She swallowed softly. "What's your name?" He hesitated, as if weighing whether she was ready for the truth, then answered in a voice barely above the wind. "My name is Kale." Kale. A name that felt familiar, even though she had never heard it. Before she could speak again, the subtle hum in the air deepened. She turned toward the ridge, half expecting the ground to shake, but everything was still. Kale's gaze shifted past her shoulder, watching the darkness with sharp focus. His expression tightened. Just for a second, just enough for her heart to catch. "What is it?" she asked. He inhaled slowly. "Something is drawing closer. Something I hoped we had more time to prepare for." Saren's chest tightened. Prepare for what? Kale looked at her with a warmth that felt impossibly steady despite the tension gathering around them. "For the truth," he said softly. "The truth about why you've been feeling different and why I'm here." Her pulse thudded once, deep and uncertain. She didn't understand any of it, not the strange hum, not his calm urgency, not the way fate suddenly felt like a living thing standing between them. But she knew one thing. Her life had never brushed against anything extraordinary until tonight, until him. Kale took a step closer. The wind stilled, as if waiting. And just as Saren opened her mouth to speak, a soft glow flickered between the trees behind him, pale, quiet, and steadily pulsing in a rhythm that matched the hum she felt in her chest. Her breath faltered. Kale looked at the glow with recognition. "It's starting," he whispered. And Saren realized her peaceful night was gone. Something new, something she wasn't ready for, had begun. The glow behind the trees so far? Please like the video and subscribe for more heartfelt tales. It pulsed like a quiet heartbeat of its own, soft and steady, as though it were calling to something or someone. Kale stepped slightly in front of her, not aggressively, just naturally, like instinct guided him. His shoulders stayed calm, but Saren sensed a tension beneath the surface, the kind carried by someone who had lived with secrets far too long. The wind brushed through the leaves again, this time moving in a slow, circular pattern instead of its normal scattered flow. Saren watched the glow brighten, then dim, then brighten again, almost in sync with the hum inside her chest. "What is that?" she whispered. Kale didn't take his eyes off the light. A signal, one that shouldn't be here yet. His words made her throat go dry. "Yet?" He nodded once. "You weren't supposed to encounter it tonight, not until you were ready." Ready for what? The question rose in her mind, but before she could speak, the glow shifted shape. It didn't expand or shrink, it stretched, like something inside it was trying to step forward. Saren felt an odd tug deep in her stomach, a sensation so foreign she had to grip her own hands to stay steady. Something inside her was responding to that glow, as if an invisible thread connected them. Kale turned toward her then, his voice low. "Saren, has anything strange happened to you recently? Something you can't explain?" The question cut through her. For weeks, she had been ignoring the strange little symptoms, the way streetlights flickered when she walked by, the way she could sense emotions from people she hadn't even spoken to, the way she sometimes woke with faint marks on her skin shaped like gentle spirals. But she didn't want to sound foolish, not to someone who stood so steady while the world around them whispered of the impossible. "There have been things," she admitted softly, "but I thought I was just tired or imagining things." Kale shook his head slowly, compassion settling in his eyes. "You're not imagining anything." The glow flared suddenly, and Saren gasped as a ripple of warmth spread across her chest. The hum inside her pulsed once, sharper this time. Kyle reacted instantly. He lifted his hand, palm facing the forest, and the glow paused, as if it recognized him. Saren stared. "Did you just—" He lowered his hand gently. "It listens to me. For now." "For now?" she echoed, her voice small. Kale turned back to her with an expression that held both apology and hope. "That signal, it's meant for you." Her breath caught. "For me?" He nodded, eyes softening. "Because you're changing. And I'm here because you're not meant to face that change alone." Saren's mind spun. Change? Signal? Glow? None of this fit into any world she understood. But her heart didn't panic. Her heart felt something else, something steady, something drawn to him without permission. "Kale," she whispered, "what exactly am I changing into?" He opened his mouth to answer, but the glow surged again, casting gentle waves of pale silver light across the ridge. The ground didn't shake, but the air did, rippling like the surface of a disturbed lake. Saren stumbled back, and Kyle caught her arm. His touch wasn't urgent or rough. It was grounding, warm, steady. "You don't have to be afraid," he said. "I know this feels impossible, but everything happening tonight is connected to who you truly are, who you've always been beneath the surface." A soft ringing filled the air then, an almost melodic vibration that seemed to echo from inside the glow itself. Saren's pulse matched it. "Why now?" she whispered. Kale exhaled, his voice barely audible. "Because someone else has sensed it too, and they're coming." She felt cold sweep down her spine. "Who?" His answer came slowly, carrying a weight she didn't understand yet. "Someone who believes you belong to them." A shiver moved through her. "I don't understand." "You will," he said gently, "but we need to leave this ridge before that signal draws more attention." Saren looked at the glow one last time, feeling that strange pull tighten inside her chest. It felt wrong to leave, and yet her instincts whispered she wasn't meant to understand it yet. Kale offered his hand, not demanding, not guiding, simply offering. And even though fear brushed the edges of her thoughts, something deeper urged her to trust him. She hesitated, then slid her hand into his. The glow flickered sharply, almost in response. Kale's fingers tightened protectively around hers. "It's beginning faster than I expected," he murmured, "and once we take the next step, nothing will be the same." They turned away from the ridge. The glow pulsed once more, brighter, sharper, casting a final wave of light across the trees. And in that fleeting shimmer, Saren saw something move, something tall, something watching. Her breath froze. Kale felt her tense and glanced back. When he saw the faint outline forming inside the glow, his expression shifted from calm to deeply worried. "Saren," he whispered, "we're out of time." Kale didn't run. He simply tightened his grip on Saren's hand and walked with purpose, guiding her down the dim trail as the glow behind them pulsed like a warning bell. Saren tried not to look back, but the air felt heavier with each step, as if something large had awakened and was shifting slowly toward them. Leaves trembled even when the wind stayed still. The entire forest seemed to listen. "Kale!" Her voice came out thin. "What was that outline? Did you see it?" He nodded without slowing. "I saw it, and I hoped we wouldn't." "Why? Who is it? Or what is it?" Kale inhaled through his nose, steady and controlled, like he was afraid to let too much emotion slip out. "Someone from a place you've never known, but have always been connected to. Someone who believed he would be the first one to find you." Saren felt her breath catch. "Why me?" Kale finally slowed, turning toward her with an expression that looked like he wished he could soften the truth before speaking it. "Because you aren't entirely what you think you are." Silence settled between them, broken only by the faint hum still vibrating in her chest. Saren swallowed hard. "Then what am I?" His gaze lowered for a moment before rising to meet hers again. "You're part of something rare, something ancient, something that hasn't awakened in anyone for many generations." A surge of disbelief washed through her. "Kale, that doesn't make sense." "You're not just anything," he said gently but firmly. "You were born with a resonance, a kind of signature that only a few can sense, and now that it's awakening, he knows." Saren felt a chill. He? Kale hesitated. His name is Varen, and he believes that anyone with a resonance belongs under his guidance. Guidance? She whispered. But she could hear the truth behind Kale's careful phrasing, something closer to possession or control. Kale continued down the trail, lowering his voice. Varen and we come from the same world, but we do not follow the same path. Saren's steps slowed as shock rolled through her. You're from another world.
Yes.
She waited for more, some explanation, some reassurance, but Kale's voice stayed hushed, cautious. I didn't want to overwhelm you tonight. You were supposed to learn this slowly, safely, but the signal changed everything. Saren's heart pounded. So the glow, that was from your world too? Not exactly. It was from you. She stumbled to a stop. From me? Kale turned toward her fully this time, his expression gentle. When someone like you begins to awaken, the energy inside them releases small bursts, signals. They look like light, they carry resonance, and those who can sense it, follow it. Saren's throat tightened. So I'm a beacon? Kale nodded, eyes softening. Yes, and Varen has been searching for that beacon for a long time. Her breath trembled. Why does he want me? Kale's jaw flexed ever so slightly. Because people like you are powerful, rare, and some believe that power should serve one purpose only, theirs. Saren felt her pulse spike with fear. But I haven't done anything. I don't even know what's happening to me. That's why I'm here, Kale whispered, to help you before he reaches you. The trail curved, leading them into an old clearing where the moonlight fell in soft silver patches. Kale paused, scanning the darkness as if checking for threats Saren couldn't yet sense. She watched him, steady, calm, protective, and something inside her eased, despite everything closing in around them. Kale, how did you know about me? His eyes softened in a way that made her chest warm, even in the cold night. I've known about you for a long time, long before tonight, long before the first signal. You've known me? But how? Kale's voice lowered. Your resonance surfaced briefly once before, years ago. Most wouldn't have sensed it, but I did. Saren felt her breath deepen. And you came looking for me? Eventually, he admitted softly. But I wanted you to live your life without fear, without interference. I didn't want to appear until you needed me. She felt herself drawn in by the honesty in his voice. You sound like you've been protecting me. Kale's eyes held a quiet ache. I've tried. Before she could respond, a tremor ran through the ground, a faint one, like a distant heartbeat pressing through the soil. Kale's expression tightened. He's close. Her chest constricted. Varen? Kale nodded once. We need to keep moving, but listen to me, Saren. He stepped closer, his voice low and steady. You are not alone in this. Not tonight. Not ever again. A sudden breeze swept through the clearing, cold and sharp. Saren turned, just enough to see a faint streak of pale light move between the trees, watching, following, drawing nearer. Kale gently placed a hand on her shoulder. We have one chance to stay ahead of him, he whispered, and it starts now. Saren took a shaky breath, knowing that whatever waited in the darkness behind them was getting closer, too close. And the moment they stepped forward into the shadows of the trail, she felt it, the soft, unmistakable sensation of being pursued. The forest path narrowed as Kyle guided Saren deeper into the shadows. The trees rose tall and silent around them, their branches weaving above like dark fingers trying to hold the night still. Every few steps, Saren felt that faint tremor again, a soft vibration beneath the earth, almost like footsteps too deep to hear but strong enough to sense. She didn't want to look over her shoulder, but the instinct to do so kept pulling at her. Kale? Is he really that close? Yes. His tone calm, even though tension pressed at the edges of his words. Yes, Varen has always been relentless. Once he senses a resonance, he doesn't turn back. Saren swallowed, her breath shaky. And what happens if he reaches me? Kale didn't answer right away. He slowed, turning to face her with a steadiness that felt more reassuring than any words could have. I won't let him take you. That's not your path. But why does he want me in the first place? Saren whispered. What does he get out of it? To him, resonance softened in a mixture of sorrow and frustration. To him, resonance is a resource, a light meant to be guided, shaped, controlled. He believes only he can teach those like you. But what he really wants is access to the power that awakens inside you. And once he takes someone under his influence, they rarely find their way back. Saren felt her knees weaken, but Kyle reached for her arm before she could stumble. His touch was warm, grounding, like a gentle anchor keeping her in the moment. Saren, he said in a low, steady voice, you are not something to be claimed. You're a person. Your resonance belongs to you alone. She nodded, though fear still tightened her chest. I just don't understand why this is happening to me. You were born with it. And whether you knew it or not, your life has been shaped by it. Every time you sensed someone's emotions, every time lights flickered around you, every time you felt something shift inside you without explanation, those were signs. Saren let out a slow breath. So I was never just imagining it. No. A distant rustle echoed through the trees behind them. Kale tensed immediately, turning his head just slightly. Saren's heart jumped. Is that? Yes. Kale gently pulled her forward. We have to move faster. They followed the trail until the trees opened into a small meadow. A still, mirror-like pond reflected the moon, making the clearing look brighter than the path they came from. Kale's eyes scanned the area quickly, searching for any sign of danger. Saren took a step toward the water, but Kale touched her arm again, stopping her. Stay close to me. She nodded, feeling that inner hum intensify. It wasn't painful, but it was strong, like something inside her was pushing against a door that had been locked her entire life. Kale, this feeling, it's getting stronger. That means your resonance is rising, and that's exactly why he's moving faster now. A cold wind swept across the meadow, though the air had been calm moments before. The ripples on the pond stretched in one direction, toward the woods behind them. Saren's breath caught. He's here. Kale stepped in front of her, protective and unshaken. Yes, but this time we won't run. Saren's heart pounded. What do you mean we won't run? We just spent the whole night. I know, Kale said softly. But if we keep running, we'll never get ahead of him. We have to face him long enough to make him stop chasing you. Saren shook her head. Face him? How am I supposed to do that? I don't even know what I am yet. Cal turned to her with warmth in his eyes. Steady, unwavering trust. You don't need to know everything right now. You just need to trust yourself and trust me. She felt something shift inside her when he said that. Something calm and unfamiliar rising above her fear. The tremor in the earth returned, longer this time, stronger. Saren felt it in her ribs, her fingertips, her breath. He's about to step through. Saren looked toward the tree line where the shadows thickened. A faint silver outline began to form, tall, graceful, and moving with a slow, deliberate certainty. Her pulse quickened. "Kale?" "I'm here," he whispered. "Just stay behind me." The outline grew clearer. A figure, a presence, a force she could feel like static against her skin. Then, from the shadows, a voice drifted through the meadow, calm, confident, and echoing like distant chimes. "Saren," it called, "I finally found you." Saren froze as the figure stepped fully into the moonlight. Tall, eyes glowing faint silver. A faint smile on his face, as if he had been waiting for this moment for far too long. "Varen." Kale moved one step closer to Saren, shielding her from the figure's gaze. "You're not taking her," Kale said quietly. Varen tilted his head. "You can't protect her from what she is." Saren felt the hum inside her flare, bright, sharp, undeniable. And she realized something terrifying. Varen wasn't just here for her. He had come because he believed she already belonged to him. The air tightened. The pond stilled. The night held its breath. And Saren knew the moment she looked into Varen's glowing eyes, nothing about her life would ever go back to normal. For a long, breathless moment, no one moved. The meadow held an eerie stillness, as if the night itself refused to interrupt what was coming. The moonlight softened the clearing, painting Kyle in one shade of silver and Varen in another, two reflections of the same world, yet nothing alike. Saren felt the hum in her chest pulse again, sharper this time, like a heartbeat that suddenly discovered its own strength. She clutched her hands together, trying to keep them steady. "Kale," she whispered, "what do I do?" He didn't look back at her. His stance stayed firm, shoulders straight, voice calm. "Stay behind me, no matter what." But Varen took one slow step forward, his expression composed, almost gentle. "You don't need to hide," he said softly. "I didn't come to harm you, Saren. I came because your awakening has begun, and you deserve to know who you truly are." The softness in his tone made something inside her waver. Not trust, just confusion. Kyle reacted instantly. "Enough, Varen. She doesn't need your version of the truth." Varen's eyes flickered with amusement. "My version? Or the part you've kept from her?" Saren's breath hitched. "Kale, what is he talking about?" Kale hesitated just long enough for her heart to twist. Not out of betrayal, but out of fear. Fear that there really was something he hadn't told her. Varen stepped closer to the pond's edge, the water rippling as if it recognized him. "You've already felt it," he said softly to Saren. "The pull, the resonance waking inside you. It's not something to fear. It's something to embrace." Kale took a single step forward, placing himself more firmly between them. She doesn't need to embrace anything yet. She needs time. Varen's smile sharpened. "You had plenty of time to tell her the truth, and you didn't." Saren's pulse raced. "Kale, what truth?" He finally turned his head, just enough for her to see the conflict in his eyes. "Saren, your resonance didn't just awaken on its own. It was triggered." "Triggered?" she echoed. "By what?" Varen lifted his hand slightly, letting a faint trail of silver energy spiral from his fingertips. The pond reacted instantly, swirling in a perfect circle. By proximity, he said. By contact with someone whose energy is already awakened. Someone who knew exactly what he was doing. Kale's jaw tightened. It was the only way to protect her. You would have sensed her long before tonight if I hadn't shielded her resonance. Saren's heart dropped. You shielded me? Kale faced her fully now, eyes filled with sincerity, not defensive, not cold, but painfully honest. Yes, because if your resonance awakened too early, Varen would have found you years ago. The meadow felt smaller suddenly, the air thicker. So, being near you tonight made it awaken? Kale nodded. Yes, I tried to keep distance for as long as I could, but the moment I stepped onto that ridge, your resonance responded to mine. Varen tilted his head. He knew that would happen, and he came anyway? Stung. Not because they sounded accusing, but because they sounded true. Kale stepped closer, his voice gentle and pained. Saren, I didn't come tonight to trigger anything. I came because you were in danger. He was getting too close, and I couldn't stay away anymore. Emotion surged through her, warm and overwhelming. Part fear, part confusion, part something deeper she hadn't wanted to name. Saren, Varen said quietly, you can't trust someone who hides the truth from you. And you can't trust someone who sees you as a resource. The pond brightened in a sudden flash of pale silver, reflecting the intensity gathering between the two men. Saren stepped back, overwhelmed by the pressure building in the air. But the hum inside her suddenly swelled, so strong and warm it nearly knocked her breath away. Kale turned sharply. Saren, what's happening? I don't know, she whispered, clutching her chest as light flickered beneath her skin. Varen's eyes widened with awe. It's the full awakening. She's stabilizing. Kale moved toward her, hands raised, but careful not to touch. Saren, breathe. Your resonance is choosing its alignment. Her mind spun. Choosing what? Varen's voice turned almost reverent. Whose energy it responds to, whose presence strengthens it, whose guidance it follows. Kale met her gaze, steady, earnest, unguarded. Saren, you choose, not him, not me, you. The hum inside her swelled like a warm sunrise breaking through storm clouds, and she understood. Her resonance wasn't tied to destiny. It was tied to connection, to trust, to the person whose presence made her feel safe in the middle of all this darkness. She lifted her head, meeting Kale's eyes. The light under her skin pulsed, once, twice, then settled. Kale exhaled slowly, relief flooding his face. Varen's expression shifted from hope to resigned understanding. So that is your choice? Saren nodded, breath still uneven. Yes, it is. Varen bowed his head slightly, not angry, not defeated, but accepting. I will not pursue you again, he said quietly. Your resonance has chosen its path. With a final shimmer of silver, he stepped back into the shadows, fading until the forest swallowed him completely. Silence washed over the meadow. Only the soft ripples of the pond remained. Saren finally looked at Kale, voice trembling. So, what happens now? Kale stepped closer, his expression warm and cautiously hopeful. Now, he whispered, now we face whatever comes next, together. A soft breeze brushed across the clearing, gentle and warm, as if the world itself sighed with relief. And Saren knew, whatever her life was becoming, whatever her resonance meant, whatever future waited for them, she wouldn't face it alone.